To say, but that is part of why I am who I am, is because I do what I do for our daughters, my daughter, my granddaughter, and everyone's daughter, and sister and mother and so forth. So, but let me just say, yes, my life experience is the person that has made me the person I am today. You know, having been raped when I was younger at gunpoint, becoming pregnant, being compelled to have an abortion when it was illegal for a doctor to give one, although not for a woman to receive one, and therefore it was unsafe. And therefore I hemorrhaged and almost died from the infection and had to go to the hospital. And fortunately, I was able to live, and hopefully my work is that to make sure that no one else's daughter will ever have to face an illegal and unsafe abortion again, which is why I'm so pro-choice and want abortion to be safe and legal and available.
I've heard you call the back alley abortion the Vietnam for women.
Well, it is, because we often say in the women's movement that it was our Vietnam, that more women died or were maimed by illegal abortions than men ever died or were maimed by the Vietnam War. And of course, we have great respect for all those who sacrificed for our country in the Vietnam War. But also, there has been a war on women. I've said it for many years. There still is a war on women in terms of politicians in Washington and in state legislatures trying to eliminate any rights that we have fought to win and that the Supreme Court has afforded us, and try to do away with those rights, and whether it's birth control or trying to cut back on the right to birth control or abortion or other rights. And this is simply not to be tolerated, because we're talking about our daughters and their rights,
but Gloria,
to be safe and to be equal.
I think anyone who knows the name Gloria Allred would not be surprised by any of those positions. But I do think they would be surprised by some of your life experiences. So I kind of want to focus in on that, if you don't mind. For instance, you mentioned how the doctors, it was illegal to do abortion, so they practiced unsafe abortion. If I remember your story right, it was a doctor that held you at gunpoint. That kind of thing cuts right through me. Is that right?
Well, that's true. On a vacation to Mexico. And of course, being very young, I had no suspicion. You know, I thought, well, my goodness, you know, I had a great father, and he always protected me and was good to me, and I would never think that a man would hurt me or you know,
right there, Gloria, right there,
me.
Though, right there is where women share a common ground these days more often than I care to think about. And interestingly, when I mentioned this story, Lisa took this giant sigh. You took a huge breath when I told that story. Is that a story?
Well, that's my mom.
Did you grow up with that story?
No, that happened when I was a little girl.
But
so I didn't know about it at the time.
Do you have a sense something happened to her?
I remember that years later, when my mother very bravely decided to go public with this story, that before she did that, she sat me down and she said, I need to explain to you. I think, you know, Ma, you can correct me. I think I was either a late teen, maybe early 20s. And, you know, she felt that it was important to come forward with the story, which I agree with. And so she sat down and she told me the story. And, of course, it's horrifying.
Did you react? Did you have trouble sleeping? Did you think, oh, Mom?
No, because she told it to me in a very brave way, and just in the way that she's telling it now. You know, my mom is very honest about her past, but she's also very forward-looking. What can we do to protect women now? You know, it's a very forward-looking, preventative, political kind of
For
action.
a second, I'm looking backwards at a picture of, it looks like that
That's
you,
us.
the two of you there.
I'm the little one. She's the mama.
There you are.
That's the front yard of our house in Philadelphia. That's the row house where my mother grew up and where I lived for my first 5 years.
I can tell you have tender feelings looking at that. But Gloria, I imagine you have some conflicted feelings, because this was another part of your story. I guess Lisa's father also had some issues that were a surprise to you.
Well, yes. You know, I met him in college. He was gorgeous. He was brilliant. He was funny. He was charismatic, and he was my first love.
There he is.
And I met him the first week of college at the University of Pennsylvania. There he is. And it was exciting to be with him, and I met him in my freshman year, and I married him in my sophomore year, gave birth to Lisa in my junior year, and then got divorced in my senior year and was graduated 2 weeks late. And he was all of those things, but also he was bipolar, which I didn't know anything about at the time, and really had very serious mental health issues and challenges. And although, you know, I tried to work with that and hope that things would change, I realized that it really was beyond my power to change, and I needed to leave with my little girl, and I didn't want her to grow up in what was an environment that I thought was not going to be healthy for her.
I
still
feel,
wanted
Gloria,
her to be able to have a relationship with her father, but not be in that home.
That you're trying to protect all the little girls out there. Lisa's had the benefit for sure, and she's living proof of that. But I get the feeling that this and the rape has led to some of that passion has got to be rooted in these experiences. I also read that one of your friends said, well, he drank, he hit her, that's just the way it was back then. Was there have we traversed that much territory in the last 20, 30 years that was normative, and that now we have people like you to thank for raising awareness and not allowing these things to go by unannounced, unaddressed?
Well, I give credit to all the women who have broken the silence in our country, and whether they've done it in a larger bully pulpit, such as this is, or just in their own families, broken the silence, told someone, gotten help from their support team, whether it's their family or their friends or their religious ministers, priests, rabbis, whomever they feel they can trust, that they can talk to. All those women who break the silence, and then, utilize the criminal justice system if they think it's appropriate in their case, or the civil justice system, or just get out and be safe and have their children safe as well. I give credit to all of them.
Lisa, you're beaming. Are you proud of Mom?
I am. And I would add supportive men like you, Drew, and like all the men out there who don't stand for domestic violence, who stand against it, who stand for their daughters and their wives and their girlfriends. I mean, it's, the women's movement has always encouraged men to be a part of it, and they have been a part of it. And, there's no question that my mom's life is informed by her decisions, like all of our lives are, and by her experiences.
Her experiences more than her decisions. Her decisions
Yes.
are sort of on top of these experiences.